countries would I live in? Of course, we have the five options here: never, reluctant, maybe, willing, and of course, absolutely. Of course, Antarctica. That's never. Why would you want to live in Antarctica? Same thing with Greenland. Okay, why would anyone want to like Greenland and Antarctica? Why would you want to live there? And let's go over all the countries very quickly. That of course would be never. North Korea, obviously. Myanmar. There's a conflict there. China. Why would I would want to live under the CCP? Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, Yemen, Somalia. Oh yeah, Somaliland is a separate country. Um, yeah. Um, Ethiopia. These countries here. There's like constantly wars in Nigeria. There was the whole thing there with Christians. Colombia, Nicaragua, and these like all countries that like, have conflicts and stuff. Sudan, South Sudan, Libya, Russia and Ukraine. I don't want to be drafted into the Ukraine war. No, thank you. And Papua New Guinea, I think, the countries. And also Central African Republic as well. Central African Republic and Guinea-Bissau. Because who wants to live in Guinea-Bissau and Burundi as well? So those are all the definite no countries. Absolutely, the U.S., Canada, um, Germany, Sweden, Denmark, Norway, Finland, Poland. I think also Switzerland and Austria as well. May and probably Hungary, those and Japan, Korea, Australia, New Zealand, and for now those would be the absolute countries. Also, also Iceland would be a pretty cool place, and Ireland, not Britain. You get to know why. Also, Netherlands, not Belgium, because Belgium sucks. Also, gotta include Belarus and never. Yeah. So let's go through. Yeah. Oh, also Haiti would be a never too. Haiti would be never. Puerto Rico is a part of the U.S., so we're gonna include Puerto Rico with the United States. Bahamas. I could put Bahamas and willing. I don't really. Yeah. Maybe. Dominican Republic has a very strange problem with people disappearing now, so it'd be a maybe. Venezuela. They got rid of Maduro, but we don't know if there's somebody someone worse than Maduro. Cuba, I don't want to live under the Castro dynasty, and Jamaica will also be a maybe. El Salvador, well, El Salvador is like one of the safest countries in the world now, so of course, I think if you live in El Salvador now, it'll be a very nice place to live. Um, Panama would be pretty nice too, and Costa Rica, they're just pretty places. Uh, Honduras, no. Um, no. Guatemala, it's reluctantly. Then we have Belize. Nothing goes on in Belize. Like, what would you do in Belize? That's the real question. Mexico, it's maybe. They're all really safe parts of Mexico, but Mexico is basically controlled by the cartels. Brazil. Brazil is even worse than Mexico, I believe. These countries I think are pretty fine down here. They are pretty safe. I'll put Bolivia in maybe. I'll put Paraguay reluctant because it's yeah. I'm not giving much of a good reason, but um, Peru would be reluctant. I think Ecuador going maybe. These countries I don't know much about, so I can put them in. Oh wait, this counts as France. Okay. Um, yeah. Then let's go through Africa. Okay, Africa. Zimbabwe never. South Africa never. There's a very bad crime rate in Lesotho, East Martinique, who wants to live there. Madagascar. I'm not a penguin, so I don't think I would get along with King Julian in Madagascar. Okay, I don't think I'll get along with King Julian. Okay, I would have to learn to speak Rima and understand Rima. Then we have Uganda. That would be Eritrea would be no. Eritrea would be no. Eritrea and Turkmenistan would be no. Pakistan would be no either. Then we'll go reluctant. These countries are going to go in reluctant. I wouldn't really want to live in them. But if I was forced to, I would just say, okay, I'll accept my fate. These countries would be never. Angola, what would there be in Angola? I think the best country in Africa, I think, would have to be these two countries right here. They'll be in maybe. Uh, I think Namibia would be the best one. Tanzania, also you get to see the wildlife. I'll put them in maybe. I'll put these countries in maybe. This country in maybe. Uganda, I think, is one of the safest countries in Africa. I'll put them in, of course, maybe. Um, this country would go in reluctant. This country would go in never Mozambique. I'll just go through these countries very quickly. Yeah, Mauritania, they literally have slavery in Mauritania. Why would I want to live in Mauritania? I think I'll put Djibouti. Somaliland is pretty safe, but they're still in a war with Somalia. But I heard that Somaliland is much better than Somalia, much better. But they're still at war with Somalia, and they're not even recognized as a country. So if things go south, you wouldn't get much aid. Israel will definitely be a no because of the whole Palestine thing. Um, because they'll draft you into the IDF, and I don't want that. Palestine will definitely be a no. Why would I want to live in Palestine? Jordan, they do have the Jordan. I think would be willing. Um, then we have Lebanon as well. Lebanon would be maybe. Thing is, Lebanon, they are not very kind to people who believe in Christianity, so they're not very kind to them. Iran, no, no, no. And so going on what's now, you could probably be gunned down by the Iranian government if you don't like the government. Tajikistan, no. Kyrgyzstan, no. Uzbekistan, no. Kazakhstan would be reluctant. I wouldn't want to live. Like these countries sound like boring places to live. Same thing with Mongolia. Like yes, I'm not. Yeah. Also, China would be red because of the CCP. As well. Why would I want to live under the CCP? Then we have these countries. Azerbaijan, I'll put it in maybe. Armenia and Georgia sound like interesting places to live. Turkey, I'll put them in maybe. It sounds like an interesting place to live, but you also have to remember Hassan Pike as well. Okay, Hassan's from Turkey, but Hassan also is from America, also moved to America. So he was actually born in America, so I shouldn't be speaking. Um, Saudi Arabia, no, they'll discriminate against me. I wouldn't want to live in Saudi Arabia. It's Qatar too. Oman. Oman it just exists. Kuwait and UAE would be nice places to live. Not Iraq. I'm trying to click on Kuwait. Kuwait. Not Iraq. Yeah, Egypt would be a pretty interesting place to live because of the pyramids. They're absolutely these two countries. Western Sahara. No. Why would I want to live in the desert? Um, Algeria would be maybe. There you go. We did Africa. Then we have India. No. Why? Okay, I'm not gonna be that mean to India, but Bhutan. I heard everybody was happy, but they don't really have access to phones. So that would be if you want to have no phones, you can live in Bhutan, but Nepal, Bangladesh, no. Bangladesh is basically even worse than New York City. Sri Lanka would be maybe. Then we go over Southeast Asia. I think these countries would be definitely willing. Thailand would be willing. These countries would be willing. Burundi would not. Burundi would be reluctant. Philippines, I think, would be a pretty nice place to live. Despite the food choices, Taiwan would be a pretty nice place to live. If I don't go with China, Vietnam would be. Laos and Cambodia, these guys. You guys are not. Yeah, then we have the rest of Europe. Um, yeah, the rest of Europe. Um, yeah, so we have the rest of Europe here. So I think we're gonna go over them. I would agree to be an absolutely great place to live. Bulgaria, no, no, no. Romania, maybe. Absolutely not Moldova. Serbia, that would be a cool place. But also, I would not want to live in Albania, Kosovo, or Macedonia. I don't know what I don't even know what goes on there. Bosnia would be reluctantly. Croatia would be a pretty good place to live in. I'll put them there. Montenegro. What goes on in Montenegro? That Slovenia sounds like a pretty good place. Slovenia and Italy, I think, would be pretty cool places to live in. Czechia, the Baltic states. You know, there are mostly lacking men in those countries. So of course, I would definitely be. I think it would be very easy to find a woman in those countries. So those would be easy countries to live in. Slovakia. As I then we have France. France. I mean, I have always had my grievances with France. I'll put them in maybe. Spain, of course. Spain, Portugal. And then, of course, we have Belgium. No, no. We don't want to live in Belgium. Belgium sounds like torture incarnate. And, of course, the UK. No. I don't want to live under Starmer's regime. Okay, no thank you. I don't want to live under Starmer. Um, you could be I could be arrested for making this video in the UK. Yeah, the UK arrests more people for mean tweets and mean posts than any other country does. Any other country in the world does. You know, um, but yeah, this is the world I would live in. I wouldn't want to live in any of these countries because a lot of these countries in Africa are like very very dangerous. These countries are kind of like the safe countries in Africa as well. Botswana, I think, and Namibia, I think, are the safest countries in Africa, and Rwanda as well. I think those are the safest countries in Africa as well. Yeah. So if I had a choice to live in an African country, it would be one of these three or these two countries up here. But a lot of these countries are just very dangerous and just not very good advisory countries to go to. Same with Asia, a lot of Asia, and of course, I'm just not gonna live in these countries. Living in Kazakhstan just sounds boring as hell. Okay, living in Kazakhstan, Mongolia sounds boring as hell. No one lives there. There's like nothing going on there. Now Mongolia, living in Mongolia sounds boring as hell unless you live in the capital. I would change Mongolia to Iraq then. It's just Mongolia sounds like a boring place to live as well. Okay, that is I know we hear about the epic stories of the Mongol Empire, but it sounds like a very boring place to live. Okay, and so same thing with Greenland. Okay, like would you want to live in Greenland? Probably not. And there you go. That is all of the countries I would live in. Goodbye.